Today I'm out for a ride with Kah Finn as she prepares for entering the Ironman World Championships in a few weeks' time. But it's a right windy day, so we're going to go and find somewhere to sit down and have a right good chat. Tell me, how on earth did you end up in this situation where at 60 years young you were at a World Championship?
Somebody said 10 years ago, would I like to do an Ironman with them? It would be a good idea. I'd been ill for the past 12 months. And she was like, well, you're getting better. How do you fancy this as a challenge? You've done lots of long stuff. It's just another long day out. Yeah, well, that race was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And I've trained pretty consistently since. I am a coach, and I also have a coach. It's really hard to look at yourself and go, no, you should rest now.
Actually, I've definitely seen the progress that you've been making. And
yeah.
Of course, you use the Strength to Speed gym as well. You've engaged with all our strength coaches to complement the training that your coach gives you.
Everything you've offered. I mean, yes, the strength is really important, but you've also got Pilates. But a lot of bike races, you're on the TT, and the ability to hold the position.
Yeah.
Your run is going to be dictated by how strongly you come off the bike, and standing up is crucial. And Pilates really helps with that.
What is the difference between a triathlon and an Ironman?
If you hear somebody say that, it's 3.8 kilometres swim, 112 miles on the bike, and a marathon on your feet to finish.
It's a big day out.
It's a big day out.
I'm really glad that we're going to put some money towards that. I mean, managed to help you out with a few things as well.
Amazing.
To make sure you get that start line. Welcome back to the UK, Kath, from Ironman World Championships, Nice, France, age group triathlete. I'm really hoping that you can try and share with our audience what it's like to represent your country at a World Championship.
An amazing experience. I just had the best week.
The footage that you've captured for us is incredible, and we're just going to keep rolling it over this whole interview because you've captured so much. So first of all, massive thank you to Look for lending you this fantastic bike.
Yes, she was beautiful. She worked like a dream.
Because one of the most nervous things going into this was it was not a traditional Ironman course. It was very hilly, wasn't it?
It is very hilly. You go straight up 2,000 metres from sea level over Alpine passes. A few people really didn't like it.
And so was the bike exactly what you needed for this?
Definitely, yes. I could just sit in a gear, push up the hills, look at the views, and then coming down again. She was so well balanced, and the corners were just absolutely phenomenal. For me, my time trial bike is too heavy to climb well on. I don't climb that well on it. The geometry's all wrong. Yeah. And again, descending, it's just like you just sat into that. You just asked her to turn, and she did. And there was a lot of shouting going on your left, on your left. Before
you set off, you expected about 70 something people in your age category?
Yeah, normally at a race, because I'm quite old, would maybe have a field of about 6.
Yep.
Here there was 74 on the start list and 68 actually started. We had 20 DNFs and 2 people that were too slow.
And you finished?
24th. I was really happy with that.
Just give us an idea, what would be your typical training week leading up to this? What would a typical week look like? 3 or 4 swims, 2 of them about 3 kilometres, 1 long bike ride, and that's varied from like 3 hours to I was out for 6.5 on Sunday. I work in zone 2 95% of the time probably, and do very little out of it. So those are all long rides, slow, low heart rate, practicing nutrition. And comfy on the bike. So, and then a ride on the turbo overgeared efforts for building strength, particularly because there's loads of climb in this race. So it's like, just sit there and be able to grind it out. Just keep going. And then often another bike of 1 to 2 hours with a bit of a brick run off it. Anything from a 10-minute run to half an hour. And a brick run, for those cyclists amongst us, that means you do a bike ride and then you immediately just get changed. You almost mock a triathlon transition. So 1 gym session, just holding it. We're not trying to build at this stage. And running wise, I do bizarrely small amount of running. So in the weeks at the minute, I'd probably do a half hour or 40 minute easy run, and then a longer one, which might have some sections of the Ironman pace. So I'm knocking probably about 15 hours on a good week.
Awesome. That's a lot of volume.
Yeah, the weather wasn't like typically what you might expect.
For South
we did
of France,
have some days rain. And that for us meant the race day was actually amazing. It was 23 degrees.
And then it looks like you had a great reception when you got there.
Yeah, they've had, the week before was amazing. The expo, they'd done really well. All the sign on, obviously there's Ironman merch because they make loads of money, but they also had loads of stalls that were really helpful. They put on lots and lots of events. So like I went to an underwater filming session with Precision Hydration and was filmed in the sea with lots of water bottles suspended around me, which was really good fun.
Before the race start though, we had the big parade of nations.
I don't know, there's 63 countries represented, and we all line up down the top of this street, and every nation's pen, if you like, has got a flag. So somebody takes the flag and you hold it up, and then we all march in nations. We were the second biggest. United States had the biggest.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. It's all female, this one. It's the biggest all female race in the world for triathlon. And that felt really special to have female athletes looked after and given those opportunities.
There's one bit of footage, but I think that happened before the start, and I think your daughter caught you eating a can of ambrosia rice pudding out of the can.
Oh yeah, it's breakfast.
That was breakfast.
So I pack it, I fly with it.
Okay.
And I know it works, I know it goes down, it's mainly carb, it's easy to digest. I was so nervous. Like, normally I get a bit nervous, but at that stage, I was really, really nervous. Yeah, I had transfers on my arms and everything was ready. And then by the time I got to the half an hour before the start, I was super calm.
Excellent.
And I'd sat on the seawall and just kind of done some breathing and a bit of visualization, and it was all sorted. I'm actually ready to go. I've got all my kit, we're all here, okay. And I can feel myself prickling now when I'm talking about it. And then the pros go off first. The beach is actually really rough.
Okay.
It's all pebbles, and there's not a swell, but there is a wave as you're going in, which is moving all the pebbles underneath. So they do a deep water start, so you go in, it was only about 20 yards, and start between two buoys. So it was a different swim to what I'd anticipated. However, yeah, my time was like 9 minutes slower than my PB, so I was like, oh God, that's terrible.
Yeah,
and I was 11th out of my age group, so everyone else obviously found it quite hard.
Yep.
So swim was fine.
So 11th out of the water.
Yeah.
Yeah, excellent, well done. Transition onto your bike.
That went smoothly, yeah.
You're so well practiced now at that.
So coming onto this bike, you normally race all this on a time trial bike,
yeah.
But we've got a Look Blade RS that we've managed to put in a favour for you. And the reason is this course is quite unique, isn't it? It's not like your normal. And you were came to us thinking, Paul, I've got the World Championships, but you've got a good road bike, but it's not necessarily one that is competitive.
It's 10 years old.
Yeah.
It was reasonable when I bought it, but it's had a lot of hammer in those 10 years. And I came in going, it's fantastic, but I'm going to be really slow because I've only got my old road bike, and it's not a TT course, it's too hilly. Yeah.
So what do you think the difference is? Because there's not a lot of weight difference. It's definitely not weight.
Well, there's the aero about it. The handlebars are a completely different shape. I don't know if I'm lower or not, but I feel as if I can get very flat coming downhill. The wheels are far better quality, and they make one of the biggest differences. I was frightened it would be really twitchy, but it isn't. It just feels very, very solid and safe.
I hope what we've managed to provide you is definitely helpful. And
the bike is amazing. Half an hour to 40 minutes off my bike time, I reckon.
And then on the bike.
Yeah, and you're on the bike for quite a long time actually, aren't you?
I would normally be probably about 6, but I'd anticipated probably 8 to 8.5, 8:40, and I came in about 8:14. Yep. The bike route was mega.
It's sad that we haven't really got an awful lot of footage of that.
And because you're going uphill for so long, you've got time to look at the view. Obviously you don't have time when you're coming down, but yeah, loads of people didn't like it, and when you talk to people about where they cycle, because the woman at the end said, how was the bike? And I was like, oh, it was mega. And she was, you're one of very few who liked it.
So of course you still had a marathon to run.
Again, thankfully the weather by then, perfect. I was in my tri-suit, perfect temperature. My qualifying race, I got off the bike and I felt like $1 million. Here I got off the bike and I felt completely trashed. And you never, ever, ever think it's a marathon. So it's just like 4 laps.
It's just a run, or it's just
it's
4 laps?
4 laps.
Okay.
I can get around 4 laps, and I knew my daughter was part way down where the crowd stopped, so I had somebody to run to.
Go, Mum, go! Go, Mum, go!
Well done!
Good job!
You on holiday?
Yeah!
Mum, it's not time for a chat! Not time for a chat!
And it was my slowest marathon on an Ironman ever, which I did kind of expect, but my first 2 miles was slower than my last 2 miles, and I was really pleased with that for pacing. But the last mile is great because you know that I've done it, and that feeling's amazing. There's this like huge sense of kind of relief, and you really ecstatic, and on my pace I could feel I was taller. You turn into the finish funnel and there's red carpet and it's packed. And there's lights and there's this big arch that you're heading for. And Sarah had a flag for me, daughter, so I grabbed the Union Jack as I went past and got that up over my head. It's just the most incredible feeling. And I got my medal, yes. Yeah, it's a really good.
That's a really good weighty medal. It looks fantastic.
Yeah.
Must be so proud of
that. Super proud. I couldn't believe it. You look at the picture with me and I'm absolutely upright, ecstatic. Like 30 seconds later, I've got my arm around this guy's waist and I'm going, just don't let go of me because I'm going to fall over if you do. One moment I look like absolutely on top of the world, the next moment. And it is just amazing. I don't know, there's something incredible about emptying yourself to that degree.
So which leads me on to the next bit of footage we got from you.
Yeah, we're just getting a Lime bike so that Sarah can ride home, but how do I feel? Currently, pretty numb, I think. Kind of elated, kind of wrecked, kind of numb. Things will become clearer in the morning, but that was a stunning course, amazing bike. Coming downhill was just like so much fun. And yeah, I'll think about it later. I've just done the World Championships and it feels good.
You've got so many emotions going, you've worked so hard, you've focused constantly, you've force-fed yourself, you come over the finish, you still know you've got to find your stuff and find your bike, and by then it's been up 22 hours maybe, and you just absolutely wrecked, and you just kind of haven't had time to sift any of it. I've achieved going to the Ironman World Championships, which is the pinnacle of long distance triathlon racing, and you just go, that's amazing, I've done it. And every time I think about the bike course, I've just got this massive grin.
Us, and look, I'm really glad that we could be a very small part of that. Thank you
that was amazing. Thank you
to Charlie and the team at Look who helped organise this.
Thank you to Look and to Matt Deck for making all that happen. It made a massive difference and added a whole new dimension.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Kath. Before we go, if there's any sort of piece of advice do you want to give to anyone out there who's maybe going through the similar sort of journey, you know, qualifying, trying to get to World Championships, what would you want to share with them?
Just keep going, be patient and be consistent, and just keep plodding away and you can get there.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Kath, and well done. Congratulations.
Thank you.